Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a 2011 Mazda 3 2.5 liter with a 6-speed manual transmission, and I was hoping to change my fuel pump today. First, you pop the rear seat out. It just pops in with these two little spots right here. It's just a little U-shaped wire. I had to use a big old screwdriver to pop those out because I don't think they've ever come out before. But this is what I was hit with. Taking off the fuel pump cover. This is the passenger side and the rear. I'm thinking, oh, look at that circle. That probably mirrors what's underneath. A big nice hole to take the fuel pump out. But no. The genius engineers put this hole here just so you can unplug the pump, and they left all this metal here. Now you can see the curvature of the retainer ring comes out here. This rubbery stuff, it's kind of like a rhino liner, was covering all right here. I took my screwdriver, cleaned that off, and then I took my drill with a wire brush here and cleaned that off so I can see what I'm working with. I need, let me just say this too, because some people I know are going to say, oh, it's not that bad, just drop the tank. On this car, the exhaust is in the way. I do not want to remove the back half of the exhaust just to get to the straps, just to get to all this other crap, just to drop the tank, when I can modify this. Now, if you haven't seen my other video where I did this to my 2004 Tahoe, check that out. I made a custom lid because there was no hole whatsoever. Where this one has a hole, and we already have a cover, I'm probably going to attach extra sheet metal onto this lid and rivet it, but we will see. So first, this is a push style plug. Let's see, push on it right there. See if I can get this out. Okay. So after analyzing, this is the current plan. You got this weird thick reinforcement metal bar section here that I'm pretty sure my shears will not cut through. I've got some pneumatic shears, so it should be some clean cutting, but I think there's going to be sections where I inevitably need to use the angle grinder with a cutting disc. Okay, so I got me these Harbor Freight pneumatic shears, and it's got a really wide blade, so it cuts in a strip and it rolls your metal forward as you're cutting. So I kind of got stuck when I had to make a turn right there, and of course I'm stuck where I'm hitting this thick stuff. So okay, so that's the same electric cutter I used on the Tahoe, and it just was inevitable. I just got to the point, made sure I had direct straight up clearance. It went a lot faster. I actually regret buying this because this was just to the point and it was easy. And I didn't blow up, so that's good. Now, because I exposed bare metal, I need to spend some time with the file, hit it with some spray paint or some rust converter or something to seal that metal. Then I'm going to put door trim on it so it makes a nice clean edge first. Then I'm going to come back with a vacuum and just thoroughly clean this, wash it. I might even get a wet rag, just get all the stuff off of there that can potentially fall into the gas tank. So I went around and I filed the edges, angled underneath and on top, and then I realized, you know what, I'm not going to spray paint or seal anything till after I've changed the pump, just in case if for some stupid reason you got to tilt it one weird angle that needs more clearance. So next I'm going to take a toothbrush with a vacuum and just get as much loose debris out of there as I can. I don't need to worry about this plug because that's the old one. I'm going to leave this on because there's a gasket in there keeping it sealed. Once everything's clean, then I'll undo this and start doing the ring. Okay, so I got that cleaned off pretty good. When I started to undo these screws, like you could just feel that they want to strip. Like it's like old soft metal and they're tight. So to be safe, I'm gonna put some PB blaster on there, let them soak for a minute. Okay, I managed to get one screw loose and I want to show you what I did. First off, go through all your Phillips bits. Make sure when you put it in your screw head that there's not excessive play. You want a nice, good, snug fit. I did the PD blaster on all of these, and then usually these caps have a gasket under them that expand and put spring tension up against the cap, which is also putting pressure against the screw head. So what I did is I put the Phillips in like this, and then right next to it, with my other hand, I put my flathead screwdriver next to the bolt head and I pushed down to compress that gasket underneath and take that tension off the screw head, and then it broke loose. And I just did that at the same time. Hopefully that'll work for all of them. But as of right now, that was the method. These screws are definitely getting replaced with hex head stainless steel bolts. I'm gonna match these up at the hardware store. My advice, do not reinstall these. These should have been hex heads that you can use a socket on from the manufacturer, and they should have been stainless, long-lasting screws. Okay, on this next screw, it wasn't coming loose doing that same method, so what I did this time is I put the screwdriver in and I tapped it on the head with a hammer probably 35 to 40 times to send little shock waves through that bolt and its threads to get the rust loose. Then I did what I did the first time, pushing down on the cap with the screwdriver while I'm trying to untwist with the other hand, and it came loose. So sweet. Okay, I'm on my last screw, and this thing is not giving it up, and it's almost starting to strip. I want to show you what I was talking about with the spring tension under this thing. Like, see if I can hold still enough, but see how much I can push that up and down? Okay, that's a lot of spring tension under there. Right now, all of it's channeling to that one screw. So I'm gonna put one screw back in, and I'm just gonna lightly snug it up, and the hope is it'll take the tension off the opposite side where I can get that one loose. I mean, nothing that I wouldn't be able to get undone again. Just snugging it up, tension off the other side. Now we'll see if I can pop that loose. All right, guys, it worked. I had to put all the weight of my palm on the back of that screwdriver. I was practically sitting on my hand, put as much downward force friction into that screw head to try to prevent it from stripping, but it is done. Good riddance to that crap. That was just another, whoever was in charge of the fuel pump department in Mazda just did not know what they were doing. Okay, that is loose. I forgot next, lift this little green clip up, and then this should pop off. Get paper towels because this is probably going to spray. This comes off. This just pulled off good. A little bit of gas came out, probably like a couple tablespoons, hardly anything. So you can feel there's a gasket right here. Gas in here. So because the fuel pump itself is holding a lot of fuel inside it, see that? I'm going to need both my hands, and I'm going to kind of wrap a towel around this as I'm taking it out of the car, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I pulled it out. I needed to go up this way and then just a little this way for the float to come out from under that lip. There is a gasket right here. I'm just going to lightly wipe that down before I put in the new one. Now let me show you the new one. Okay, so here's the original and here's the replacement. I looked them over, they match up. The float arm doesn't come installed, but you just literally slide it in this little bracket part and it like snaps in right there. So I'm going with Bosch. I actually ordered this on Amazon and it looks like Napa was the carrier for this. Part number is 66171. I had a hard time finding OEM brand fuel pumps and I couldn't figure out what the brand was for the original, and I want to see if there is a brand on it somewhere, but I'm not seeing one. I'm guessing it was Motorcraft because Mazda is owned by Ford. But in any case, everything else matches up, so we'll just drop this right in. It did not come with a new gasket, which I was kind of bummed about, but I mean, nothing looked wrong with that other one. Okay, so here's the new one. So the float goes in first. I'm tipping it. Oh, by the way, when I got the original out, I dumped the gas back in the tank that was still hanging out in there. Sits like, oh, there it is. You can feel it's kind of, it does this spring-loaded thing. The original one did that too when I was pulling it out. But yeah, that's kind of weird. Okay, well, I guess that's what that tension was on the screws. That's probably why. Is this whatever's causing that, and it doesn't feel like it's hitting inside the tank, and it's clocked the same way the other one was. It's just got this weird springy motion to it, and that's exactly what the OEM one did coming out. So that's weird. But next, I need to run to the hardware store and get some decent new bolts for this, and I'm going to clean this up. Okay, so I could not find these bolts at Home Depot or Ace Hardware or True Value. They had screws that would just match these ones that were not stainless steel, or they had a Phillips head, and I was just had to have a hex head. So I did find that these are on Amazon. And there was a local company called Granger, I think it was called Granger Industrial Supply. They had them local, but just know they are on Amazon. It just took it would have been like a 10-day wait, and I couldn't wait that long. So the size of bolts that I went with, there's 5 specs about this bolt. One, it is a hex head, and this is a, see what size is this. This is a 9/32 head. It's stainless steel. It's an M4 by 10 with a .70 pitch. And then I put anti-seize on this and used little washers. The original bolts were a little shorter than this. I think these were an M8, an M4 by 8 millimeters long, but I went with a 10 to accommodate for that washer. But this is how it should have been done from the factory. Stainless steel with washers, anti-seize, so it wasn't going to be an issue. Just don't over tighten them because you are screwing into a plastic insert into the gas tank that has, I think it has metal threads, but it's a plastic insert. So if you over tighten it, you stripped the little insert that holds the threads, then you'd have to epoxy it or something like that. Okay, I just realized I want paint to cure overnight, so I masked everything off, stuck paper towels in there, gave myself a little lip of the metal. This is exposed metal on the seam. It's in contact with oxygen, so that's going to be the first spot to oxidize and rust. So you need to cover it with something. I'm just going to use some Rust-Oleum spray paint, black spray paint. Do a couple coats, and I mean that should be good. And then I'll put the door trim stuff on it tomorrow. So. Okay, come back in a few minutes, do another coat. Okay, so it's the next day. Paint is dry, and I put on the door trim, so I got like a nice, somewhat good looking edge. Now, because of how big this is, I was thinking of maybe doing a plastic cover, but like everything's plastic here. You got this plastic thing, and if you get a heavy person sitting in your back seat, they could crush that. Gas goes everywhere, so I don't want the fiberglass, but it looks like I'm gonna need to, just like I did on my Tahoe. But fiberglass is very strong if you make it thick, so I'm gonna have to remove some of this black stuff to get an extra lip, because the fiberglass needs to probably come over about 1 inch all the way around, and then I can have anchor points to screw it into the Mazda. So here we go. Okay, so I got the tape going on, and I put a piece of cardboard under there. Now what I'm going to do is put strips of tape across the hole, but pull it really tight, and I'm going to do it this way and this way, and then see how firm that is. We want a nice firm floor that's not going to sag as that fiberglass cures, and then just so there's a cushion. If it does sag, there's somewhat of an underlayment that it won't, it's limited on how far it can go. Okay, so there's the tape and the rough estimate edge. I'm giving myself probably like 1.5 inches of a flange. If you've got some car wax laying around, this stuff is very old and dirty, but it'll still work. But give the tape a little coat of that stuff. It'll help it release. Fiberglass doesn't really stick to this kind of masking tape that bad anyway, but every little bit helps. Then gonna fiberglass. Okay, so this is about 4 hours later. Just kind of let this cure all day, and it went pretty thick. I think that's not gonna have any problems with people sitting on that. So now, get a flat head, pry this off. Okay, take the tape off, and then to the bandsaw. Okay, so here's the official test fit. I drilled a hole, and then on the bandsaw notched it out on both sides so the wire can get in there. This area down here is just way too close to the tank, so I'm not even bothering with screws. I was able to keep the original screw in that spot. I probably could have had this come out to there, but I don't think it was necessary. So I just put 3 self-tapping screws there. Just left that side alone. I mean, it's solid. I'm not gonna worry about it. But so because it's all, or I'm gonna spray paint it just so it looks better, because you know how it is. Even though you can't see it, you feel better when it looks good. Okay, there's the final product, custom molded. Okay, it is done. Overall, it looks pretty clean for, you know, I mean, nothing really looks good under the chair, but Now we'll do a fitment test of the bottom seat. Okay, it went into place like normal and I sat in it and it feels great. No issues. Now I just got to clean up my little daughter's milk spill and then I'll be good to go. Thanks for watching.